Part 1 of The American Far West, 7 Mid-19th Century Views from Abroad. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by David Wales. The American Far West, 7 Mid-19th Century Views from Abroad by Anonymous. Part 1. Far Western Newspapers. There is not a town anywhere in the West of sufficient importance to be reckoned a right smart chance of a city, without a local weekly, bi-weekly, or even daily newspaper. As it is impossible for the whole community to be of one mind in matters political, we generally find one devoted to the interests of the Democratic party, and a second to the well-cherished opinions of the Republicans, these two parties dividing social affairs and public and private life in the Far West. Now, what do I mean by the Far West? A term often used, but with a most indefinite application. About New York, the term is applied to the region of which Chicago is the center. If you go to Chicago, you will find that the railway companies are advertising the Far West as Omaha. At Omaha, on the Missouri, Utah seems to be that born, while again at the City of the Saints it is Oregon or California, somewhere about the Pacific at all events. Whether the people of the Pacific Coast have any place where they locate the Far West, it is hard to say. Probably China and Japan would be about the nearest whereabout of that geographically relative locality. The scene of the following sketches will lie, broadly speaking, in the region on either side of the Rocky Mountains, somewhere in the wilds of those new states and territories which are now and again springing up out of the wilderness, which are peopled by an ever-moving and adventurous people, not by any means barbarous, yet far from refined, in fact, of that peculiar type known well enough in those parts of the world as the Western man. It is with the ruder type of newspaper, produced in such out-of-the-way places as lie within the shadow of the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevadas of California, or the Cascade Mountains of Oregon or Idaho, with their characteristics and with their humor, that I propose to deal. The flourishing state of ephemeral literature on the shores of the Pacific, associated as it will ever be in our minds with bowie knives and nuggets, cannot be better expressed than by stating that in the city of San Francisco alone, numbering 150,000 inhabitants, and 19 years ago consisting of only a few cotton tents on some sand hills, there are published no fewer than 45 periodicals, comprising 10 dailies, 8 monthlies, 1 semi-weekly, 1 tri-weekly, and 2 annuals. Of these, 3 are published in the German language, 3 in the Spanish, and 2 in French. The gold of California has attracted men clever in every department of brain and handicraft, and accordingly we find these periodicals edited with good ability and even refinement. It is only when we get up in the interior that we find the Western editor in all his crudity. Suppose that it should ever fall to the lot of a wise man of the East to ride some summer day into one of these quiet little Western towns situated on a prairie or by some river with a not euphonious name, where it is difficult to say when the town commences and the country ends, or which is which, and where the inhabitants, in their dolce far niente longer, seem to wish, like the lotus-eaters, as they tilt their rocking-chairs on the shady side of the street in front of the grocery store, that it was always afternoon. Before he has well taken off his jingling Mexican spurs or imbibed a preliminary drink with the landlord of the hotel, he will be accosted by a shabby genteel individual, whom, by the shrewdly telling questions he puts, the traveller will have no difficulty in recognizing as the local editor. If he has not done so already himself, Colonel Homer S. Smith, mine host, will soon take upon himself a Western landlord's privilege of introducing you to Dr., Captain, Judge, or Mr. Ossian E. Dodge, editor of the Swampville Flag of Liberty, and one of our most distinguished citizens, sir.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?